What song were you doing?
I didn't know we were doing a song. I thought we were just making noise together.
I was doing a wild thing. Wild thing. Boom,
Oh.
boom, boom. Boom, boom, ba.
I don't know that song.
Okay. I don't remember.
It's just random ha 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 noises. No song in particular. Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. Tonight, the stream is on fire. Nobody's mics are cooperating, and Dave's internet's not cooperating along with the rest of his life right now.
I only heard half that sentence because everything garbled over Skype.
I'm so sad right now. Welcome to the show. I'm Jeremiah. I am joined by Dave.
You're barely joined. I'm like tethered just barely by the internet, but I'm here.
And James.
What's up?
We are not joined by Joel, who is working on Norman in the Dark Zone right now. We have been playing The Division, but we're
This
not.
sounds really bad.
He's doing dark things with Norman in the dark.
The Dark Deeds.
Dark deeds.
You just know when we eventually open the merch store, there's just going to be a Dark Deeds shirt with Joel's face on it going.
Actually, Jeremiah, that would be an amazing t-shirt. Just like one of those super cheesy like horror fonts, like dripping blood, dark deeds. And then it's like an almost like pastel, very flat color version of Joel's face, but like just the eyes coming out of the blackness of the t-shirt. It's just like underneath the text, dark deeds.
So you want a metal band shirt, basically, with Joel.
Just Joel's eyes just peering out from the shirt.
So we have been playing a lot of The Division, but we will not be talking about our thoughts on The Division this week. Oh, my microphone's
We've been
adjusting again.
embargoed.
Yes, we have a self-embargo set. We will be talking about that extensively next week. But we would like everybody to write in with your impressions of The Division. If you've been playing a lot of it, we'd like to read out some of what you guys think about it. So write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com, and we will read some of your stuff next week when we talk about what we think about The Division. Now, also next week, it'll be a slightly different show. Dave's internet is terrible, so Dave might be hosting it, or we might have to look into some backups like Joel or James. James, you all right?
Yeah, a little like something flew
He
by.
just started looking to the side going, ooh.
It's the drugs kicking in his
The acid's kicking in, guys. See
So
ya.
old age hasn't taken James there. If the rapid sudden onset Alzheimer's doesn't get him.
Sudden onset Alzheimer's. That's horrible.
It is. But yeah, I'm going to be back home visiting family next week, so I'll be calling in from a laptop. So I've yet to see how that's going to work, but we are going to be talking about The Division extensively next week. And then also want to give a plug for Casual Shenanigans Tech. That is the podcast we started after it took too long to read all of you guys' computer build questions on air. Dave and I started this secondary podcast where we just read your email and answer your questions about your computer builds. James has joined us a couple times. It's so thrilling. We haven't seen him in a while.
I noticed since we started the tech podcast and kind of split it off, the instances of Joel falling asleep on stream have really gone down. So that's,
Joel doesn't
You
giggle.
have to be
while
on
playing
this.
his
You
phone
have
as
to be
much.
on the podcast to fall asleep on the podcast.
That's true. But yeah, it's going really well. We've actually gotten so many emails that we're having to do one episode a week. We were doing every other week, but we're doing one episode a week for the time being while we get caught up on them. But it's a really good show. If you want to learn more about how gaming computers work, how computers work, what good builds are for the money, how you should be spending your money, what things aren't worth spending your money on, what things are worth spending your money on when it comes to custom computers and custom computer building, that is probably a really good podcast for you. Now, we still will answer some of your questions on this podcast every once in a while, but we're getting enough mail just related to the podcast and not about build questions that as long as we're getting lots of that mail, we'll probably stick to that on this podcast and the computer build questions on the Casual Shenanigans Tech podcast. So you can find it on
you know why we originally did that, right?
so that Joel wouldn't leave us.
Because I said we should really give them their own tech thing so they can talk as long as they want, and we won't slow down this podcast.
Yeah, and it was a good idea. It was. You were absolutely right.
That's when the texting would start happening and things happen. So
Basically, you're saying me and Joel can't be mature enough and handle this
Absolutely.
like adults. So you guys should get your own podcast so we don't have to change our behavior.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to start the show like we always do with what are you playing this week? James, would you like to start?
Well, I got to try the Batmobile finally.
In Rocket League.
Yes.
Now, is it official Batman vs. Superman tie-in DLC?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Batmobile. I mean, I don't know if there's any add-ons or anything coming to it, but it's literally just the car. But it's the one from the movie, so it's got the guns on the front and stuff.
How much
It
is
looks
it?
pretty sweet.
It was $2, but I mean, I've already got my $2 of enjoyment out of it.
Mhm.
I mean, it flies higher, it's more aerodynamic.
Wait,
I
it's
feel
different?
like the No.
Oh, okay.
But I'm the Batman, damn it.
And when it explodes, it's like the bat symbol.
Yeah, it's got that. Yeah, it's got the outline of the.
Oh, I
thing
was hoping you'd
and
do like a
smoke.
bam, pop, like a little cartoon.
Well, it does
pop-up.
boom in the middle already.
Oh, but yeah, it already does that. But it'd be cool if it was like the little comic book pop-ups. That'd be really awesome.
That would be
Well, then
kinda
it wouldn't be
cool.
a Batman versus Superman, would it? It'd be the
Alright.
campy old Batman series.
Okay, fine.
Make your own DLC.
James is excited for this movie. Can't you tell?
Yes.
Now, did you see the new Civil War trailer today?
Oh, that looks amazing.
I'm saying I'm way more excited for that movie than I am for Batman vs Superman. They can both be
What'd
good.
you
It's
think
not
of
like an either
Spider-Man?
or. What?
What'd you think of Spider-Man?
His voice was very like, "Hey guys, what's up?" But
I kind of like that he's younger in this film.
oh yeah, I'm totally fine with that. I'm glad that Spider-Man's back. I really hope there's no backstory. I really hope it's like, hey, you guys know who Spider-Man is at this point. Look, they might need a primer for people who didn't know Spider-Man was part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it's been like 15 years and he hasn't been in any of the movies. But yeah,
I was just really happy that he was able to sneak away during recess to be a part of the movie. Hey guys, I'm here.
Black Panther looked really awesome.
I like Black Panther.
If you saw Dave, Black Panther deflected a machine gun bullet on his shoulder, like it bounced off his costume. So that's pretty cool. He
My
also
favorite-
ran down a
favorite-
motorcycle.
Yeah, the riding down the motorcycle was my favorite part with
Did you
him.
see the trailer, Dave?
I've seen it, but I don't get a
Wait,
lot of it. I'm so
you
far
still
behind.
haven't seen the Winter
You haven't
Soldier.
seen Captain America 2.
Take your calendar, Jeremiah. Roll it back about 7 years. That's where I was in superhero
Okay.
movies.
All right. I know you don't care that much, but I honestly think you would like the Captain America movies. I know we keep telling you this, but Dave, pick a night. We will watch The Winter Soldier, and then you'll be excited for Civil War.
I'll watch Sicario now, so that was worth it.
Was
Maybe
it worth
I'll
it?
trust you.
Was it worth it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll watch
Well,
it again.
Not until you watch The Winter Soldier, you're not. But this Sunday, we're watching Creed, if you want to come over and see that. Do you like the Rocky
Oh,
movies?
No,
Don't like or haven't seen?
haven't seen. Not super interested.
But you haven't seen them, so you don't know if you're interested.
How's
I mean, I've
communism
seen
treating
clips. I've seen. How's what?
Clips.
you? I said, how's communism treating you?
You can't see clip. Yeah. If it wasn't for Rocky, you don't even, he doesn't even know, though. That's the thing. He doesn't even know when Rocky saved us from communism and ended the Cold War.
I know of it. I do actually. It's
Which movie was that?
If he dies,
One
he
of them.
dies.
Which one of the movies is Eye of the Tiger from?
oh no, I'm drinking a vodka sour. I am a commie.
I don't know. How do you have enough motivation to get out of bed in the morning if you haven't seen Rocky? I'm just confused.
because I've seen Red Dawn 19 times.
What,
Jeremiah,
really?
Jeremiah, have you seen Red Dawn? The real Red Dawn.
It really
The
bothers
movie,
It
the
really
movie
bothers
where
Dave,
small
James,
town America
that I've seen the
stood up to
remake
the
of Red Dawn.
commies.
I've seen the remake, and I haven't seen the original.
No.
The remake was really bad.
It was wretched. It was wretched.
No.
The first one wasn't great, but it was still a fun movie. It wasn't Rocky though.
Yeah, Dave,
Like,
you don't.
He's like the American dream.
Rocky is one of these all-time seminal great movies, and you don't understand because you haven't seen it.
Red Dawn was so patriotic. The Russians accused the film industry of making it as propaganda for the government.
Okay, if you want to come over and watch Red Dawn, you can come over and watch Red Dawn again.
Yes, I think I have it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, you
I
already
think
loaded it to
'cause-
me. It's already in the Plex server.
Oh.
You haven't seen Warrior yet, though, have you?
What's
I haven't seen Warrior yet.
It's a.
I want to see it.
In my opinion, it's the best boxing MMA movie since Rocky. A lot of people like Creed, but I think Warrior is in my all-time top 10 favorite movies. I don't think it'll ever leave my top 10.
So
Nice.
so James, what else you playing this week?
Anyway,
Well, let's
Dave,
see, I
Winter
played some
Soldier,
other stuff on Netflix.
Winter Soldier, come over. We're gonna watch it. I'm gonna keep bugging you until this happens. I come kidnap you, and then you don't have a car, so you can't get home, and then you'll just stay and we'll watch movies. Sorry, James. Go ahead.
You need to watch
terrible
Rocky
plan.
and Captain America 2. I mean,
That's it.
Like
Plus a bunch of
That's
others.
America. That's America.
At least he's seen Fury Road. If he hadn't seen Fury Road, I'd be seriously questioning a lot of
Red
things right now.
Dawn.
Red Dawn really wasn't that popular, though.
Maybe not numbers wise, but it was like, it had a huge impact for sure.
Cult following, would you say?
Basically.
Okay, cult following. So, like, if you hadn't seen, like, Donnie Darko, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But you haven't seen Rocky. You haven't seen Rocky.
Academy
still bigger than
Award-winning
that, though.
Rocky, featuring American treasure Sylvester Stallone.
Well, I can't argue with that.
I mean, they had people like Hulk Hogan, and
How
Mr.
can
T,
you-
and
How can
Dolph
you watch
Lundgren?
It's
Come on.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which without watching the quintessential Philadelphian movie?
yeah, they have the scene where they run up to the top of the steps and they're throwing their hands up. That meant nothing to you.
Yeah, I guess it did.
Actually, I've seen the clips of that.
And when
scene.
It doesn't
talking about
matter if
Dolph
you've seen the
Lundgren?
clips. You don't know the man. You don't know the story. Clips won't tell you the story. James,
If you've never seen him crawling through the snow as fast as he can with Russians behind him, you've never lived.
if
Now,
you've
that clip
never
I
seen him
haven't seen.
hanging upside down in a barn, all shirtless and sweaty,
Oh,
doing
that was
sit-ups,
amazing.
you haven't
Yeah.
lived. If
I have
now,
seen that clip.
What about that? What about the
Yeah.
clip from
Have
Rocky
you seen-
from Rocky Balboa, the inspirational speech with his son? That's a stinking good movie.
Have you seen where he's running on the beach and has that very
Very short shorts.
lovingly embrace hug with Apollo Creed after they do their little run?
It's one of the
I mean, that's quintessential to Rocky.
quintessential 80s is what that is. Really short shorts, superpower montage music, and sweaty men hugging each other.
Hey,
They
for
are
sweaty
like the
men
most-
in short shorts, I was in the Scouts, so that covered all those bases.
Dave, do you like montages, inspirational training montages?
Gotta have a montage.
I do?
No, I'm asking if you do.
Oh, I don't know if I do.
This is like
Because you
Dave has a
haven't seen
montage
Rocky. You definitely have an
You
opinion.
would
one
like
way or the other.
montages if you watched Rocky. Adrian. That means nothing to you. It means nothing. Culturally dead. Anyway, I've been playing Pillars of Eternity this week. I've actually really been enjoying that.
Mhm.
I think I've put like 6 hours in this week.
And
that
what,
game.
what is Pillars of
No,
Eternity
it's
again?
10
What do you
hours.
Okay.
It's a I don't know if it's an ARPG or what, but it's an RPG game
Mhm.
where you get control of multiple players, and it's not turn based, but it isn't live action either. So you
Mhm.
like run up and you just everybody's going back and forth. But it's really well done. The voice acting is really well done. The music's good, and it's fun to explore.
Cool. What else you been playing?
I played Wasteland 2. That's like the poor man's Pillars of Eternity.
So you have Pillars of Eternity and you're playing it, but you're also playing the poor man's version?
Yeah. Well, I got
He's
it.
a rich
I got
man.
it from the Humble Monthly bundle,
Okay.
which is actually a really good deal.
I've heard that. Well, the Dollarwise gamers, they seem to be split on it. Dollarwise's James doesn't seem to enjoy it that much, I believe.
Well, if
but
you have a lot of the games, then yeah. But if games keep coming up that you like, then
well, that's the thing. It's kind of
worth
like PlayStation Plus. You're paying ahead of time for games you may or may not like, which you probably will get games you like, but how much would you save if you only bought the games you really wanted to play and save the rest of your money, you know?
well, I was only planning on doing to get Ark Survival for $12
Mm. That's not a
last
bad deal.
month. But then it came with Wasteland 2, which is usually like $20, and a
Mhm.
few other games. What else?
I mean, The Division, but we're not really talking about that yet.
I wasn't going to say that. No, that's it.
Cool. All right, Dave, what have you been playing?
I actually got to try out some more indie games this week. Some stuff that's been on my list for a while. I got to try out Firewatch. I'm like an hour and a half into it. Gonna play it more this weekend. Maybe
So
even
you're
beat it
halfway
this
through the
weekend.
game. Cool.
James.
Well,
this is
I mean,
me.
you're still in the intro.
I'm an hour and a half, and I think I've just now covered all of the parts that they've shown in like the pre-release videos. It's really good. The dialogue is fantastic. It's like not just the dialogue and the voice acting, but the timing of it. You know, being a game, a lot of times the timing of the audio can be kind of wonky, but timing is really good. It's really funny. Beautiful too. I got to try The Flame and the Flood, which I'll be returning to. That's a fantastic game. It's a roguelike survival game with it's like custom folk soundtrack to it, and you're floating down a river towards your doom, most likely.
Yeah, I've also played that. I think it's really cool. I don't feel like I totally understand the game mechanics yet. I'm still kind of learning those, but it's really sweet. It's very unique for a roguelike. Like most roguelikes, I feel like are really fast paced, or they're like FTL, or they're just brutally difficult. This isn't brutally difficult, but it still is pretty challenging.
Does it feel like you're working towards something?
Well, I don't know. I don't feel like I've played enough of it to really see. I've died twice so far, and I haven't gotten very far each time. I've died because of like gameplay mechanics I wasn't aware of yet, or I hadn't figured out yet. So I feel like it'll take a couple more tries before I get that far. How far have you made it, Dave?
I made it to Area 3, and my death was actually it was a horrifying death. I was almost starving to death. Like I was right on the edge. I had materials for a fire, but no food to cook. And I found some like yucca, which is I guess a fruit you can cook, right?
Yucca.
It's yucca.
It's a what is it called? It's in the same kind of category as it's almost like a potato.
Yucca. Okay.
What is that called?
It looks like a reed in game. Like it does not look appetizing at all. But I found some of those. I had to run past like a really pissed off boar to get to him, right? And then I used my last bit of flint to build my fire to cook them. The boar saw the fire, started chasing me again. I ran all the way around the area I was in and back around to the fire to cook my yucca, right? Yucca?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got back to the fire. The boar finally like forgot about me, starts pouring down rain, the fire goes out. At that point, I pass out from exhaustion almost into the now smoldering fire, wake back up, and the boar is goring me to death, like as I wake up from exhaustion and like hunger. That's how I died. But it was surprisingly compelling. Like it's a very, very artsy game, very nice soundtrack, but grim too at the same time. Like I was really feeling that survival desperation by the end. And then of course, outside of those two games, I've been playing Arma. Lots of Arma since the map editor update. Lots more to come. I've also been playing a lot of The Division. I've got a video I've been working on. And if my internet can hold it together, I want to play some, because I didn't play it hardly at all yesterday. And
But we'll play some tonight after the Grand Theft Auto event?
Possibly.
Cool. Actually, I haven't played The Division with you yet, really, have I?
Last night.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I dropped in just to listen to you guys just for a bit, and it sounded like you guys were having a lot of fun. I'm very impressed so far.
Oh, was it just me and Joel at that point?
Yeah, it's just
like
you guys
giggling like little children running from the guys with the bats.
Those bat guys are like zombies. They're insane. James, we did a mission on Tuesday on hard mode, right, where it like cranks their damage and their health way up. There was one bat guy who was coming for Shane, and Shane was like reloading, so he started running. I just reloaded my primary rifle. I emptied the mag into the guy. He's still coming after Shane. I then pull out my shotgun, empty every round from the shotgun into him. Finally pull out the pistol. A few shots from that take him down. And he's like, he just would not die. It was like concerning and scary all at the same time.
But we're not talking about it.
We're not talking about it. But I am playing a lot of it.
We did play a lot of Rocket League last night. How much did we play?
Dude, I felt awful this morning. That was a terrible idea. But to be fair, though, I've had just an awful week this week. That was a lot of fun. That was 100% worth the sleep deprivation that I've been dealing with today. That was a lot of fun.
We started at like midnight.
We started at like 12:40. Yeah.
We played till 3.
James, when did you have to get up for work?
What's that?
When did you have to get up for work?
Well, luckily I didn't have to be where I needed to be until like 9:30 this morning. So
you got like 5 hours of sleep?
7. No.
That's
terrible. I got like 3 hours of sleep.
That's terrible.
By the time I finally fell asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I ended.
I'm feeling a little warm now thinking about it. Thanks.
I ended Rocket League by calling my ISP and telling them to postpone my tech appointment for today because I wanted to do more load testing on my connection, thinking that it might have been my personal computer causing the issues. So I was using a laptop to do upload testing, and the results were nope, not my computer. Modem still disconnects constantly. So yay!
Have you tried running straight through to the modem from the?
Oh, dude, we have
not going
tried
through the router at all.
literally everything. We've done the modem from 2 different computers. I've swapped out 4 different Ethernet cables between every component. Like I've got a stack of them on the desk over here, just piles of Ethernet.
Only possible solution I can think of is they're not giving enough gain to your area and they won't admit it.
I mean, they just put a brand new thing of wiring out there. I mean, there shouldn't be any interference.
There's new coax from the modem to the wall, inside the wall, like the 2 plates, inside the box, inside the underground, up the pole, across the pole, down the other pole to the hub. It's 100% new coax, new connectors for everything. The modem is 2 months old. The router is 2 months old. Nothing makes any sense. Thankfully, I'll give my ISP credit. They have fantastic support. I was talking to the one guy on the phone last night. We were doing the load testing where it would take about between 5 and 10 minutes for the modem to actually lose the connection. But he was more than willing to, try to figure out what was going on. So we're talking about like the new Need for Speed and Steam games and stuff like that. And Monoprice, actually, Jeremiah, he gets points for suggesting Monoprice for me. He's like, hey, if ever you need any more cables, you should check out Monoprice. It's like, oh, I know Monoprice. It's like, yeah, man, they're awesome. But I wish
your service sucks, but Monoprice is awesome.
yeah. I'll say though, the service is great, but I wish I was not in a position to need to be on a first name basis with all of my support texts for my ISP.
You've been playing the tough game of life this week.
It's been an awful week.
I've been playing The Division, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
How far are you in that game?
5 hours.
Nice.
I took a break from playing it to work on the video for it because I recorded it, and then significant performance patches came out. So for both platforms, I re-recorded all the footage. So it took a while. That goes live tomorrow, but yeah, I've been playing it. I enjoy it. Been playing The Division, enjoying that. Been playing some of The Flame and the Flood. I was playing something else, but I can't remember. So, I went back to Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I'm done. I'm bored.
You're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it won a bunch of BAFTA awards, though.
Oh crap! I forgot about that game.
It's like, I won't say it's not good. It's just not really a game in the way I was looking forward to playing a game. So it's fun to wander around in, but honestly, I could get the same amount of enjoyment out of just listening to like peaceful music and reading a book, like sitting in a chair. Like wandering around the game world isn't really doing it for me in any unique way.
Did you like Dear Esther? Did you play that at all?
I haven't played it.
I don't think you'd like it because it's the same thing. You're just exploring.
Yeah, not really my thing.
I feel like I love those games so much. VR might be dangerous for me down the line because I could just wander.
VR is definitely going to be dangerous for you because first you're going to buy like $2,000 of video cards and then you're just going to spend your time wandering around The Witcher crying softly.
I do that without VR.
Dave's like,
Carol,
I've been crying a lot.
I hug you?
You're like, I've been crying a lot this week. VR just makes it easier.
Can I insert some news here? We have some breaking news that just got announced from what I can tell.
Breaking news.
I'm going to put in a little time code here for some breaking news. Rocket League has just announced a new game mode for March Madness, basketball.
Get the freak out.
It's got like a super low big
James is tapping his arm already.
I'll post the link here in the chat for you guys watching live. I can't post links in our chat, so I will retweet it on my personal Twitter account then. But let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to get the link to James because I know he needs it. Here, James, I'll just send it to you on Skype in a window.
I mean, I could just look up Rocket League basketball.
I think it's just on Twitter right now, unless there was a news blog that they had like just posted or something.
Oh, come on. One of those websites, Design Trends and Christian Post and whatever post. The ones that ruined Google pretty much. Surely they have it.
It looks really awesome. The I guess the field is now an actual court with like all the wooden boards and whatnot. That looks like a lot of fun.
Oh, good. So it's a goal. It's up in the air, but it's not like tiny to hit. That's gonna suck for everybody who can't do an aerial. Although it looks
The
like
ricochets
you can
are gonna
probably
be
drive.
nuts.
You can drive the ball up the side, and then it could fall. Like so, it looks like there's a ramp up to the goal. It's not just. It doesn't have to fly through the air to get there.
Man, that's exciting. Man, this game that I got for free on PS4 and then bought again on PC has been so worth it. It's one of the best competitive games, man, since like Halo days for me. It is so much fun.
Sweet.
And the most rage since Halo 2, I think.
With that, we will launch into the news.
It looks really good. It's actually pretty low.
News time. Nobody else is gonna do it. I'll do it.
So that was my news, I guess.
Yeah. That's pretty cool though. So when does it drop?
It just says March, so
I mean, March Madness is.
I mean, we're a third of the way through March, so I'm kind of like, when? You know what I'm saying? You know, like
hook me up, Rocket League.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. But my bit of news this week, James, should I put in that you want to talk about Nintendo, or do you actually not want to talk about Nintendo
You know,
this
there's
week?
not really anything to talk about this week.
Well, it seems like 1 week should go by every once in a while where there's not totally untrue rumors about their new console. AMD has launched their xConnect external GPU technology. It's supposed to enable easy plug-and-play use of external GPUs. So it supports a lot of their graphics cards, the R9 Fury, Nano, R9 300 series, R9 290X, 290, and 280, and their mobile derivatives. So their last couple generations of flagship cards. The way this works is you have to have support in the BIOS, so manufacturers could patch that into a laptop,
Nice.
or they can build new ones. So it remains to be seen how much this will actually be supported, but more of this is standardized than any of the external GPU solutions we've seen in the past, because those are always like Alienware, proprietary plugs, proprietary housings and stuff. So you get their external GPU enclosure, it fits a large external GPU, and then it uses Thunderbolt 3, which uses USB Type-C, and it will plug in. So you need Windows 10, you need the BIOS extension for this, you need a Thunderbolt port on the computer, and then your computer can support it. So I wouldn't buy into this just yet, but it has potential going down the road. Like every cool technology, I have my strong doubts that's going to be supported or go anywhere, but it is a cool idea.
This is the best shot I've seen for it, because I was promised upgradable GPUs from my Hypersonic laptop, and then Hypersonic went out of business a year later, and it was all proprietary, so there were no models that were ever released for my card. And the enclosure actually looks pretty nice.
Given the fact that USB Type-C can deliver power and video and can daisy chain and all that stuff, it seems like the best chance to have the throughput needed to make this work. Like you said, it remains to be seen if anybody will want to make it work, but I think it's cool that it's an option. So we'll see.
I was reading down in the show notes and got to the Dark Souls,
Mhm.
and I saw confirmed run at 60 FPS, and I just kind of like stopped there. I didn't read the next two words.
On PC.
Yeah. Spoiler, but
So we'll go ahead and talk
News?
about that now.
I was
We'll
like,
go ahead and
there's
talk about
no
that
way
now.
it's going to run at 60 FPS on the PS4.
Oh, definitely not.
So you've seen the trailers too, then?
Yeah,
I mean, I played Bloodborne. I can't imagine it's going to be that much better.
because it looks like Bloodborne, and the footage, like it looks pretty much like Bloodborne, and it looks kind of framey as well. Even if it was running on the PC, it looked kind of framey. But they've confirmed whether or not it's an unlocked frame rate, it's definitely running at. It can run at least 60 FPS on the PC, which for me further solidifies the fact that I'm getting it on the PC, because it's so much better at 60 FPS than the mid 20s that Bloodborne was. So definitely PC for me. Next news item, CD Projekt Red has announced that not only are they releasing Cyberpunk 2077 sometime before 2021, they will also be releasing another major AAA RPG game. Dave,
Just give me a
make the
minute here.
noise.
I got a case of the vapors.
Can you give us a Geralt? Can you give us a Geralt?
Geralt.
I
Next
mean,
gen Geralt.
It's not going to be Geralt.
It might be.
You don't know that.
5 years, it could be Witcher 4. It
They've
could
already-
be Siri.
They've said that not making another Witcher game would not be fair towards the fans who just started their adventures in the world of the Monster Slayers, which is 95% of the Witcher's fans are people who have, never played any other Witcher game besides The Witcher 3. But besides that, from a monetary perspective, it would be stupid of them.
I mean, no, they're definitely going to make that, but I don't think that's what this is.
Why not?
Possibly. They just mentioned another game that they're developing that's
Another
different than
AAA
anything.
RPG.
There's a game that they're making that's different than anything they've ever done. Did you see that headline?
Is that on the same link I put up?
No, it's not.
Okay, no, I don't think I did see that.
Where did I see it?
I think this is it right here. We'll include a new AAA RPG title. This was from GamePressure.com, and they're also wondering if it's Witcher 4. There's also been a lot of hints from CDPR that we might get another large expansion pack for The Witcher 3. But it could also be maybe a nice polished extended edition with new features. They're being very vague about it, but we're getting something else most likely for Witcher 3 this year as well.
Yeah. Cool. Well, remains to be seen, but I think we are definitely seeing another Witcher game at some point. It would be stupid for them to walk away from it. They're definitely going to do something else with The Witcher. Whether it's Geralt, which I would be fine with, or Ciri, which I would also be fine with, or what I would be even more fine with is Geralt coming out of retirement and him and Ciri teaming up to take on the world.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I don't care if any of you got a different ending than that. That is the correct ending, and I don't want to hear about it.
And then you go home from fighting monsters with Ciri to Yennefer. That's the correct ending.
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
tell your dog to shut up.
She won't listen. She's in guard dog mode right now, which means she's probably in the back of the couch looking out the window.
I don't normally hear her barking. What's set her off?
She does not bark. Jess just got home.
Oh,
The only time she barks is when someone's approaching the house.
Gotcha.
The only time she ever barks.
That's fine. Our dog finally made some noise the other day. He let out one right when I came in the door. Because Maya was barking up a storm, so Apollo looked up and went one bark, then he was good. He was cool, but
That's all you need to do.
it's a deep bark though. It's a good sounding bark. So
If you listen carefully, she's going, "Get the gun!"
all right, The Division has broken Ubisoft sales records. We don't know what those records are because they won't tell us. But their previous day one bestseller was Watch Dogs, and that sold 4 million copies over the course of the first week. So this is better than that. But it's broken company records for the most copies of any game sold in 24 hours in total on PC and consoles, which we were talking about before the show. It seems interesting that not only did it, it beat Watch Dogs, which honestly is not that surprising, but it beat Assassin's Creed games, some of the Far Cry games. It's beaten a lot
Splinter Cell.
of different games. Splinter Cell, yeah, Ubisoft's had a lot of big franchises. So I find it interesting that it's beat all of them, but there is a lot of hype around the Division. So Shane in chat asks, why Ultra Grunt? Watch Dogs, really? I don't think it did that well on launch day. It was a game that came out close to when the consoles launched, so it automatically sells well.
I mean, there wasn't anything else to go to.
I mean, they're making a Knack 2, if that tells you anything. But that's interesting. I'm looking forward to when the NPD numbers come out and we can see how much it actually sold. I'm going to guess it sold maybe 7 or 8 million, just based on the hype. I mean, it wasn't Battlefront big, I don't think. It's not Grand Theft Auto big, but it sounds like a real bona fide hit. So that's cool. Hopefully that means they will have the funding they need to add more stuff to the game, to really flesh out the DLC, stuff like that. So good for them.
Yeah.
And then this last bit of news.
You know what's actually fun to say
Yes.
though? We don't have to say spend the money to fix their servers or fix this or
That's
fix
true.
that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But we're not getting there yet. But we will go in detail next week.
But we've been playing it, so
I mean, we've got the hours in the game, so something went right.
Now, this next, this last bit of news is for Debbie, really. The HK project, I just read about this today. It's a cat adventure video game made by these developers, Kula and Viv, where you play a cat exploring, is it Shanghai or is it Hong Kong? But it's a cat graphical adventure game running on Unreal Engine 4. And on the Reddit post for it, someone said, "I really hope all the objectives are marked with laser pointers."
That sounds awesome.
But it's a really pretty looking game from the couple gifs they've shown off, and you're a cat exploring. So I gotta say that's unique. I don't think
that
anybody
is a
else has
unique
ever done
idea.
that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Speaking of being a cat, did we talk about the bear simulator game last week?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Oh, let's talk about that. Yeah, good call, James.
Let me pull it up. Basically, it was a Kickstarted game. It succeeded in Kickstarter, and it's got good reviews on Steam, but apparently, a few big gamers like PewDiePie and stuff kind of ripped on it. And I guess the sales numbers weren't what they expected, and the guy said, "I'm just not making updates to it anymore. Too much drama. I'm done."
Was the game released or was it still early access?
I think it's, hold on, bear.
There's a link to PC Gamer right there for you, James. Basically, Jeremiah, it's like I think it's still in early access, but all of the promised features are there except for one tier of Kickstarter backings. Like he said, he's going to send that to their Kickstarter backers. It was like an extra area or something. They get that, but the game that's on Steam right now gets no more updates apparently. And he basically said it wasn't because of development issues, money issues. It was literally because he doesn't like the drama, and so he just stopped.
I'm good with that. I mean, yeah. Honestly, I'm good with that. What do you guys think?
I don't know if I agree
Okay.
about being good with that. I mean,
if as long as he's not screwing over his Kickstarter backwards.
Any creative field you go into, you're going to get people that hate something.
Right.
I mean, unless you want to go into a black and white, I'm going to, work on the books all day or something.
They call them
be a cashier, or
librarians?
be a cashier. No, I mean like financial books
Oh, gotcha.
where you're doing calculations. Anytime you have any creative input into something, there's going to be someone who doesn't like your creative input, and you just have to deal with it, honestly.
I mean, there's that, but we've been on the tail end. Dave and I at least have been on the tail end of lots of
Creative
really nasty,
feedback.
yeah, creative feedback from the internet. Like I get where the guy's coming from. I guess I don't know if I agree with his decision or not because I don't know enough about the project. But him saying I'm tired of dealing with the internet and you guys are ungrateful and I'm just not going to work on this anymore. I'm totally fine with that as long as he's not reneging on any obligations. Like if all the features are there and people will still be able to play the game after this, I'm okay with it. And I can sympathize with the guy even though I don't really understand the project.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything like definitively without knowing more about like what exactly was promised and what's available now because I'm not super familiar with it. But from the articles that I read about it last week, all of the public promises, like on the Steam page, like all the boxes are checked there. It's rough around the edges. It's very indie looking. I think it was just him and then like hired help occasionally. But it's $15 and it's been out. Lots of updates for a few years. I'm probably leaning more towards Jeremiah on this one.
But you don't agree, James?
Did it not just come out of early access?
That might be true. It might have just officially come out of early access because I don't see the tag on it anymore on the Steam page. Fight against an array of villainous creatures that dare to try and stop your bare way of life.
Oh my.
Read markings left by other animals after upgrading your nose. That's quite the unique upgrade tree. Smell P. It's finally unlocked.
Anyway.
Yeah. If we hear anything more about it, we'll talk about it. But
yeah.
Moving on to mail time.
Mail time.
Oh my. I'm pregnant. You can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com. Just like a bunch of you did. We asked you guys to write in with your piracy stories or how you were a pirate and aren't anymore. Yeah, exactly. And we have 3 people who wrote in with quite long emails, and I thought they were interesting.
Did Ashley ever write back and clarify?
No. But we did have what's definitely a woman wrote in this time, Mary, Okay, her name's Mary. Can we assume that's not like it's not Marion? See, Marion can be a man or a woman. Mary, I'm pretty sure this one's a woman. We did no word on Ashley. We have no idea. Ashley could be a robot, could be a man, could be a woman.
The world must know.
But Kenshiro wrote in and said, I live in Brazil and always, sorry for the bad English, that's okay. I apologize for however I pronounced your name because I'm sure it's not correct. I live in Brazil and I always use torrents for downloading games. I have for 31 years. Been playing video games since I was 7. I've owned the NES, Master System, SNES, Genesis, here it's called the Mega Drive, PS1, PS2, and for 2 months a Wii. Never bought a game. When little, my brother and I rented games. That's because games are way too expensive. They cost $250 at launch, so I don't know. Well, I don't know how to
$.
I don't know how to pronounce it, so we'll just say Brazilian dollars, I guess. And that is one of our dollars equals $3.81 of their dollars. So
Is it called Brazilian Real?
the real, is that what it's called? Did you look it up?
Brazilian Real.
The Brazilian real, that would make sense. Okay, so minimum wage is 5.5 reals per hour monthly. Most people make about 880 reals if you make minimum wage. So 250 reals for a new game. That's kind of problematic. So it's the same.
Wow, yeah.
It's the same price as they are in America, but the standard of living is much, much cheaper in Brazil. So that's way more money there comparatively. So games cost about 250 reals. Street Fighter V was 270 reals at launch, which is 28.4% of the monthly minimum wage. In your country, the minimum wage is $7.25 per hour, monthly $1,160. So AAA games cost $60, which is 5.17% of your minimum wage. So 5.17% versus 28.4%. I don't know anyone that has a PS4 or an Xbox One and buys games. Most people have cracked PS3s or PCs like myself and download games from torrent sites. Keep up the good work, guys. P.S. I recently finished The Witcher 3 Hearts of Stone DLC. What a game.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. What do you guys think about that? Because he's admitting that he's a pirate, and we promise you write in, we're not judging you for that, and we mean it. But games are like 5 times more expensive there.
It's funny because I thought Sega actually had a pretty good showing there back in the day.
Well, he's talking about now. I don't know what it was back in the day, but
I've got a few thoughts on this. Like, it's real tempting to say, like, well, it's entertainment. No one's entitled to entertainment. You're entitled to, you should have food and shelter and healthcare and whatnot. But, entertainment isn't something that you're entitled to. But that's like a countrywide, issue. That's like an entire group of people that just wouldn't have access to it. And I'm not saying that the piracy is okay, but that's a real tough issue. Like, video games are selling more than movies are now. Like, they're huge. So you're missing out on a huge chunk of culture if you're not playing games for a lot of people.
Well, and this is kind of interesting because we've talked about key reseller sites like G2A and stuff on here before.
Yeah.
It's not like they can price the games to be the equivalent reels, 40 or 50 reels in Brazil. They can't price them at that way because people will just buy thousands of keys and flip them on G2A for pennies on the dollar. Like, because we have a digital worldwide games economy, can they make the games cheaper? Because people will spam and abuse it, and they'll use it to launder money and everything they're doing now. So with that large of an exchange rate difference,
we need a one world government.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Is there a good solution? Honestly, I don't know. Like,
it's tough. It really is.
I have a solution.
Oh, do you?
I will send you games. You send me a Brazilian wife. I'll send you a box load of games.
What's the ratio there, James, to like amount of games to wife? like is like The Witcher 3 is like one wife?
Do you know how many games I have?
Based on what he's written here, it sounds like about 4 or 5 games ought to do it.
or one Witcher 3.
I mean, if I were in the Secret Service, that wouldn't be an issue. No.
Ooh.
Wait, I don't even know what that means.
You didn't know that? Hear that story about the Secret Service guys that got busted for visiting ladies of the night down in, was it Brazil?
Yeah, like their shift was over and they all got caught with prostitutes because they tried to not pay for it apparently. And they were like active duty, just their shift was over for like the 12 hours or whatever.
I love that in chat somebody quoted, "Send me a Brazilian wife, James," and then the next person is Gabrielle says, "Hi."
I volunteer as tribute. Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know if there is a good solution.
Was it maybe it was Argentina. That sounds Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, Argentina,
that's not important here. What, like, I don't know what there is a good solution. Like, I don't agree with piracy,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I can make a better recommendation. Like, you don't want to tell somebody, obviously you are not entitled to any sort of entertainment, but it's really condescending to say to people who make a fifth of the money we do, you're just not entitled to it because you don't work hard enough. Like, no, we don't know the first thing about their economy. We don't know how realistic it is to make more than minimum wage. We don't know the first thing about it. So we can't tell you a better solution. Like, I don't know what I would do if I was in your position.
And speaking of you mentioned Hearts of Stone, wasn't it CDPR that on like the launch week for Witcher 3 was posting the 1.1 patch on like Pirate Bay so that people would have like the launch day patch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. CDPR, they're really nice about it, but their business hasn't been driven into the ground because of piracy. They've actually been doing pretty well. So it's easy to say like, oh, more people should be like CDPR. I'm sure if that was financially viable for more companies, they would. But
I have a second solution too, by the way.
Oh my god,
they're their own publisher too for CDPR.
This is a good solution.
Okay,
what you got for us, James?
Next time we do a giveaway, make sure to join so you can possibly win some free games instead of having to.
That is a good solution. Now, so here's what I'm trying to think. It's not even one of those things like, can you just get a VPN and join, a different country's Steam sales? That's only worth it if your money is worth more than another country's money.
Yeah.
If your money's worth a lot less, I don't think there is a really great solution. So I feel for you, Kinshiro. Thank you for listening to the show. I'm sorry to hear that games are so expensive. That really sucks.
Yeah.
Up next is Ben, part of the Casual Shenanigans Gaming community. He said he was going to write in. He said, so this is in response to two separate topics you talked about in the podcast. Thought I'd throw in his 2 cents. So he has something about video game laptops, which we'll read after we read all the piracy emails. But his bit on torrenting, he says, I started torrenting at a pretty young age, maybe 12. I did so for a variety of reasons. The primary one is that I was on an old Dell Inspiron laptop. This was by no means a gaming computer. My brothers and I all played World of Warcraft, and the laptop would run it pretty well. However, a lot of games didn't run on it. So in part, by torrenting, it was a way to ensure the game actually did work. Another primary reason is getting games was always a bit difficult in my family. As Ashley last week shared, it was kind of a big ordeal in my family to go to the store and buy a video game, especially for the prices they were. My family did a lot of garage sale shopping for video games. We were almost always one to two generations behind in the console world, but once I discovered torrenting, it opened me to the world of PC gaming. I started finding more and more games, getting further and further. I remember Half-Life 2 Episode 1 was one of the first games I ever torrented, and I loved it. I loved the experience, I loved the gunplay, and the depth of the story and the characters blew me away. As I got older and started to actually have money to get a more decent gaming laptop, and that's when Steam was really starting to come into its own. Before, I'd have to get my mom to drive me to the store, pay a lot of money for a game, drive back, install, and finally be able to play the game. Growing up, we were limited to 1.5 hours we were allowed on the computer per day, so going through all of that was a huge hassle, and torrenting was just so much easier. But once Steam started to become a real viable option, I started to make my way into purchasing games. I'd torrent some, purchase others. I didn't have an exact system on what I would buy and what I would torrent, it just depended.
Oftentimes I get caught.
Oftentimes I would torrent a game, see how I liked it, and then if it seemed to intrigue me, I'd buy it on Steam, then just move the 1 to 2 hour save file over. Torrenting at that time became a system of seeing if my system could play it, and if it could play it well. There wasn't a great deal of YouTubers doing reports on games, and just the same, they weren't using the system I was, so I couldn't even be certain if it would work. I used a gaming laptop with a GTX 485M, which no system requirements guide could give me a clear answer on, so I never really knew if a game would run or not. And with no return policy, there were times where I would get burned, either because my computer couldn't run the game, or the game was just terribly done. As time went on, I got better computers, and now I don't torrent at all. I guess what it became was games started coming out with features you could only experience if you had the legit copy. They had features like in Watch Dogs where you can be invaded, or multiplayer in GTA, co-op, and other games. It was the features that I couldn't get with a pirated game that pulled me out. Also, many times, whether out of guilt or out of nostalgia, I went back and purchased games that I had torrented just so that they were officially in my library. I think honestly the last thing I torrented was some game from EA, I can't even remember what game. And that was because I'd purchased BF4 and could not get that game to work at all. So my logic at the time was to torrent another game at the same price by EA so I could actually get some type of experience for the money I spent.
That consumer attitude, that sounds familiar. That was a lot of people, I think. That anger.
In the end, do I think torrenting is bad? Yes and no. Torrenting is completely what got me into PC gaming. It's what got me started. I would never have been able to get this far without it. Do I see how devs can suffer from it? Yes. And that's why once I started to have the means to buy the game, the money to do so, and there was a good logical system to get the games, I started doing it legally. And now I probably spend more on gaming or PC stuff than most people who started not torrenting. My story with downloading music is very similar. I started legally, but now probably have more illegally, but now I probably have more legally purchased songs than most of the listeners. He has 18,000 songs. Why? Because there was a good, logical, and fairly priced system to do so. So, torrenting both helps and hurts the industry. I think nowadays there are many, many different ways to get the information and the knowledge about whether a game runs or is worth it, to make using torrents as a demo an invalid point. Things like Steam sales and other sales, games can be purchased at reasonable prices and can be downloaded or installed pretty easily, too. Kids don't have to get their mom to drive them to the store just to get a new game. As long as they have the money, they can feel free to explore the Steam store and find out what suits them. I think the world of PC game torrenting has died because the market has finally found a way to approach their users. In the end, if you torrent or don't torrent, I really don't judge. People have their reasons, some are valid, some are a bit gray, and some are just because they don't want to pay. It is a gateway for some people, and I really believe it's one of the major factors that got me into PC gaming. And I agree. And Gabe Newell agrees, because he said numerous times people pirate because the platform's not good enough. Like, piracy is about convenience just as much as it is about money. And 10 years ago, when you couldn't see how good a game was, there weren't like fast internet guides on how well the game ran on your hardware. There weren't tons of people doing previews. You could see how the game ran. There weren't demos for every game, so you can try them out yourself. I mean, and there's no return policy. A lot of times, once you open a game, I think it would be easier to justify torrenting to at least try a game out than it is these days, where, like we talked about last week, you can find out everything you want to know about the game. You can watch the game start to finish from like the moment it's available. So, what do you guys think about what Ben had to say?
Yeah, I think though that there's a bit of an addiction factor that comes with torrenting.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting a bunch of stuff that you won't necessarily play because it's there. Not necessarily with games, but more like with music and stuff. You're more inclined to just start grabbing whatever you see as you're looking around.
Yeah. That's how Steam sales work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotta get them all.
So I think the motivation can change once someone really gets into torrenting. I don't think it's either because they don't feel like paying or this or that. It's just that I've already started doing this. Might as well grab this, and might as well grab this, and might as well grab this.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah,
you
that was
think,
a good
Dave?
email. Ben's story is actually very similar to mine, and I stopped torrenting for the same reason. The market got better, and I had money to actually spend on games.
Mhm.
So it kind of met in the middle.
All right, and then Mary wrote in and said, "Hello, I'm a new listener to your podcast. The first episode I watched, you guys asked why people pirate games and invited us to write in and tell us why we pirate games, so I'm going to do that now." Which, that's pretty cool that the first episode she watched was the one where we asked about that. Back when I was 12, I wanted to play Minecraft, like any 12-year-old. I didn't know how games work as I only played the GameCube as a kid. I, like many 12-year-olds my age, watched the Yogscast play Minecraft back in the alpha stage. I had no idea what alpha meant in video games at the time, so I thought it just means it's badass, because adding alpha to anything makes it badass.
I've never heard that before.
So as a kid, I looked up Minecraft.com and found the Minecraft site. I was so excited to play this amazing game after spending hours watching people play it. I made a lemonade stand to raise the $10 I needed to buy the game. This was early on in Minecraft's development then.
Oh, wow.
After a week, I had my $10. I go to my mom and say, "Hey, I have the money. can I buy a game on the computer? She, like me, didn't know how buying games online worked, and she said, let's just go to the store and buy the disc so you don't have to wait. I was so excited at this point, knowing that I'm going to play it today and I don't have to wait. We go to the local Walmart and spend half an hour looking for the game. We couldn't find it, of course, so we asked the teenager. I like she just says the teenager. Like, obviously, that's who's working in the electronics department, the teenager. He says, sorry, we don't carry that. My heart was broken, but my hope was not lost because I can still order it online. I'll just have to wait a few days. So we stop on the way home to buy postage stamps, and the minute we get home, I dash to Minecraft.com to find the mailing address to send my money to and get my disc. I spent forever looking for the address, and of course I can't find it. But I found you can enter in your credit card and download it today. My heart leaped back the excitement I had on the way to Walmart, and of course I run to my mom and say, you can buy it online. All you need to do is enter in your credit card info. Of course, my mom wasn't happy with me wanting to enter our credit card info for a game she's never heard of on a site that seems very sketchy.
It was not a great looking site back then.
It was not, no. She rightfully so said no, and of course my heart was broken. Not only can I not play the game today, I can't play it in a few days at all. I'll never be able to play it. I yelled and cried at my mom like any 12-year-old self would do and threw a tantrum in my room for the rest of the day. Now, a month later, I was watching the Yogscast play Minecraft, as any 12-year-old does, and I saw a video suggested how to get Minecraft for free. Of course, I watched this video. After rewatching the video 12 times and memorizing the song Hey There Delilah that played in the background of the video, it didn't work, of course. Being the 12-year-old I wasn't going to give up. I typed into Google how to get it for free, and I don't remember the site I got it off, but it worked, sorta. I finally got to play this game after a roller coaster of being excited and heartbroken. I was so happy. I played it for about a year, but I remember every time a certain C114 song played, the game crashed. This isn't that big of a deal because Minecraft autosaved and such. This pretty much repeated until a few years ago when I got a job and more importantly a PayPal Plus, which is basically a one-night stand equivalent to a debit card. I've never heard it described that way. At that point, I stopped my sinful ways and I've actually bought most of the games I pirated because they all had bugs that would crash the games every time a certain song played and stuff like that. I don't know where she was torrenting these games from. I feel the biggest reason why kids pirate games is because they don't have a way to buy the game. You can't go to the store and buy a disc anymore, so we had to pirate games. But don't think that we all got away scot-free. Everyone who has pirated a lot of games has a computer more effed up than a Kardashian. So I thought I would share the reason why people pirate in my theory, and I'm sorry it was so long, or if I made grammatical errors as it's 1:30 a.m., I'm kind of drunk and tired. Thank you very much, and I love the show so far. Plan on listening more. So
awesome.
That's another decent point. We've heard from a couple people now whose parents don't want to put their credit card information into a website and let them buy a game online. And then, they can click how to get game for free into their web browser. And of course, there's links on how to do it. And then they can actually get the game for free. So
whatever you do, don't Google how to get it for free. That phrase alone will lead you to dark deeds.
Yeah, that's a really good way. It's basically going, hey scammers, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you please infect my computer?
How to get
Where would you like me to
free?
put my credit card number?
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's another good point. It's another way, a service. A lot of these people, or so far no one's written in and said, I have all the means, I just don't like paying for games. Now, there are those people out there, but it seems like everybody who's at least talked to us about it, it's not just the paying for games, it's the fact that either they don't have a way to pay for it themselves because they're too young, or they don't have a way to go get the game, they don't have a way to make sure it's a good purchase. Basically all the things that Steam is trying to fix with refunds, and Origin and Uplay are getting better about this too, but with refunds and, or trial periods and really good sales and stuff like that, it's never been a better time to be a gamer. And then, last bit of mail. This is Ben again. Ben wrote in about gaming laptops because we were talking about them a while ago, and he wrote in with his 2 cents on why he likes gaming laptops. I've owned 2 video game laptops, both Sagers, which I'd highly recommend if anyone wants a gaming laptop, and I'll second that. Sagers are pretty awesome. I got mine right when I graduated high school and was about to start college. At the time, I was traveling between living on campus and seeing a then-girlfriend back home. Nearly every other night, I was switching back and forth where I was staying. I was attending classes all about campus and wanted a computer I could game on in my downtime. For me, at the time, it worked. Dropbox and other cloud storage was not what it is now, and the reliability wasn't there. I needed a computer I could take to class, do my work, and bring back home or to my dorm to work on things, and then, when done, easily switch over to playing games. However, there were a lot of downfalls. First off, they get super hot. I mean, unbelievably hot. And they require a lot of changing of thermal compound. It got to a point that unless I had it on a cooling pad, I couldn't game on it. It would get way too hot and way too loud just do gaming wherever I was. I'd hoped to be able to play in between classes when I had downtime, etc., but it ended up being more of a pain than it was helpful. After going through 2 different gaming laptops, I moved to the setup I have now, which is a desktop. Services like Dropbox drastically improved my experience, and this is exactly what I would recommend to anyone about to start off at college and looking for a computer setup. I have 3 computers I use in my daily life. One is my old gaming laptop, which I now have always plugged into my TV as a home theater computer. The other 2 computers are my daily drivers. One is a Surface Pro tablet, which I bring with me everywhere. All my school documents I save in my Dropbox folder. Then I get home and work on the files for my home desktop, which is my gaming rig. Dropbox honestly is a lifesaver, being able to instantly go back and forth. TLDR, gaming laptops are nice, but nowadays are kind of outdated. Get a decent portable laptop with Dropbox support, build a gaming rig, save $500.
Boom.
Yeah, I'd agree with him. I'd go even farther and say for most people, like going into college, get a Chromebook. If you use Google Drive, my little sister has a Chromebook. It was a $200 computer with the build quality, not of a MacBook Air, but like 80% of the build quality of a MacBook Air. And it was $200 and it runs Chrome OS, but it runs all of her Google Drive stuff, all of her web browsers, everything. And it's perfect for going to class, taking notes, storing files in Google Drive, coming home and working on them on a different computer. That's so cheap, it's like an accessory. Like for the price of a Nexus tablet, for cheaper than an iPad, you could have a computer that will do all of your classroom style activities. And then if you need a more powerful computer for other stuff, which I don't think a lot of people do, honestly, but if you did, you could get another laptop, you could get a more powerful desktop for super cheap, something like that. So that's really cool. So do you guys have any more thoughts on any of the people who wrote in about anything?
Just that thanks to my gaming laptop, I got to play Far Cry 1 in the back of art history class. That's an advantage. That's a plus.
I mean, my laptop I carried everywhere. I played Counter-Strike on it. I played Half-Life on it, Half-Life 2. I played everything until I built my first real gaming desktop in 2008. So
I didn't have much time in college to do that.
Really?
I mean, I traveled a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Art history class, though.
Yeah, I came back to my dorm and sat a lot.
That was pretty social.
I was social with people I met and hung out with around the dorm. Like I made a bunch of friends, but they were all on campus friends. I didn't join like many things that led me outside of campus. Just because I'd done so much of that stuff before I went to college. When I got to college, I was enjoying just doing schoolwork, coming back, relaxing, spending time with friends, and I just didn't feel the need to go do stuff. But you were part of like some extracurricular activities through the school, so that's a little different. I'm actually starting to look for possibly a gaming laptop again, because Jeff has kind of inspired us. My wife and I, we were talking the other day, we were like, we both work remotely. Her work furnishes her a MacBook Pro. My work drive is a 2 terabyte USB 3 portable drive. I'm like, is there anything stopping us from just getting a cabin in the mountains and just working there for a week as long as we have internet? Like, what's stopping us?
That'd be awesome.
What's
the
stopping?
Internet.
Well, right. but somewhere with decent internet access, I was looking on Airbnb, and there's plenty of places where we can spend a couple $100, stay right there for the week. Work
Dave can't get decent internet.
I was about to say, Jeremiah,
50 feet from civilization.
if you get a cabin in the middle of West Virginia somewhere that has better and more stable internet than I have, I will be so angry and sad.
I'm sorry, Dave. But we were talking about it like it would be cheaper than conventional vacation because we don't have to take off work. And we're still available, for work during the day. And then we could, like in the evening, as soon as you're done with work, you can go hiking, you can go, walks with the dog. It's like taking mini vacations while still having our job. So it's an idea we're exploring, but I would not be able to work off of our current laptop, which it's an it's an i5. So it's a hyper-threaded dual core. 4 gigs of RAM, 240 gig SSD, 13-inch 1366 by 768 screen. It's not a bad computer at all. It's thin and light and has great battery life and all that type of stuff. But if you put on a video render, it just screams and dies. Like it takes it hours and hours and hours to render. But I was looking on Amazon and there's like some Asus laptops for $700 that have.
You could probably create a workflow though.
Well,
You created proxies to edit and then send it to remotely render on your desktop.
I can't send raw footage back and forth. That would be
Proxies.
What do you mean?
You know what a proxy
I
file
understand what a
is?
proxy is, but how's that going to help me with sending?
Because you could edit remotely with that and then send your list back to the. It's workable.
No, it's workable, but I mean, I'd have to be transferring at least the audio back and forth because I can't master audio remotely. Like it needs to be lossless. So honestly, I'd rather sell this laptop and spend a couple $100 more and get a fast laptop especially because it's all the works on this little hard drive I can carry with me. But
Yeah. That makes sense.
for like $700, you can get a 1080p 15-inch screen, SSD, 8 gigs of RAM, a GTX 950M, and an i7. Like a pretty decently beefy laptop for pretty cheap. So it's something we're considering. Anyway, write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com if you want to be a part of the show. Write in with your thoughts on The Division if you've been playing it, and we would like to talk about what you guys think next week. But do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we go tonight?
I think I'm good.
I mean, this is a short episode on purpose, but you know, this actually might be one of our only episodes that comes in around an hour. But we didn't have a particular topic we wanted to cover this week. We just want to talk about the news, take it easy, end a little bit early. So thank you, everybody, for coming out. As always, you can find us at casualshenanigans.com. You can tweet at casualshanaga, at Germ Gaming, at Evil Viking. We have a Facebook page. We, of course, have a YouTube page. If you're watching the video version, you are watching it on the YouTube page. And you can check the description of every audio and video version of the podcast to see links to lots of important things. If you enjoy the podcast, consider supporting us on Patreon. It helps pay for things like our community Teamspeak server, which you're welcome to use. It pays for the hosting costs for the website and for the podcast itself. If you are a Patreon supporter, and if you haven't noticed a charge in the past couple months, go check your credit card number because a couple people's credit cards have been declined in the past month. Like the cards have expired and they didn't know, so they haven't updated them. Our expenses, all the
Do they know
podcasts.
that they've been backing us like for a long time? How long has that been going on?
Now, you know, all the podcast expenses are being covered. This is not a desperate plea or please give us money. But if you do support us and you haven't noticed a charge recently, you may want to double check that because your charges may not be going through. But we really, really appreciate everybody who does support us on Patreon. We're currently saving the money up because we want to do something big. We're not committing to anything yet, but we want to do something like going to PAX East and interviewing game developers and like doing the whole video game journalism beat. Something of that scale, whether it's that or something else. So we're saving the money towards something like that now. If you guys have suggestions of some way you'd like us to spend some of the money, obviously, if you are a Patreon supporter, your opinion means more than if you're not a Patreon supporter. But if you have some suggestions of things that you think would be really cool if we could do that would make the podcast better, write in and let us know. I'd be very curious to hear what everybody thinks. But until next week, where one of us will be hosting and it won't be me, it'll either be James, Joel, or Dave. We should probably start planning for being Joel or James.
I made it through the whole podcast tonight. Okay, I'm still here.
You did. We should probably plan on someone else doing it, though. We'll see how it goes.
What percentage of robot tonight? Come on.
It's funny because you just said something and your voice didn't come through.
I hate my life.
It's done that a few times. I've just kind of ignored it because I didn't want to make you feel bad because you can't do anything about it. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for supporting us. Until next time, do a dark deed and slap a seal.